There's another Unearthed Arcana for the Cleric that focuses on a very different domain. What was the inspiration for this?
We have long wanted to have a cleric essentially of shadow. In our early 5th edition work, that cleric of shadow actually turned into the trickery domain that's in the player's handbook. But this notion of shadow or darkness as the opposite of the light domain that is also in the player's handbook, that notion is stuck with us. And so we've been tinkering with this idea, the sort of the shadow cleric. And the more we tinkered with it, the more it evolved into what has become the Twilight domain, where we wanted something not about total darkness, partly because we feel that we've gone to that design well several times elsewhere in our class design.
And Shadow Sorcerer.
Yeah, and so rather than going all in on Shadow again, which we've done before, we wanted to explore a space sort of in between, and that's where we ended up with Twilight. That this is a cleric who might walk in darkness, but who also walks in light, and who also walks in the border territory. I also really wanted us to delve into an aspect of the night, of nighttime, that often gets ignored in fantasy storytelling, and that is night is also when we rest, not just when we're afraid. And often in fantasy storytelling, darkness and night is associated with terrible, dark, scary things. And that's great. I mean, we will continue to do so in D&D.
There are things to fight, after all.
Yes, there are terrors in the night. But night is also when we rest. Night is also, especially when we are in our homes, we feel safe. Night is often a quieter time for us. And so I wanted us to, again, explore that liminal space between light and darkness, that twilight realm where things might be scary, but it also might be a place of comfort. It might be that place that because the light isn't shining on you harshly, you feel safer, you feel calmer. And I hope this resonates with people. Anytime we do a more kind of nuanced archetype like this, I'm always fascinated to find out what my fellow fans think of it, because it doesn't have the same broad swing of light or darkness.
Yeah, or the grave domain.
Yes,
you know.
Yeah. There is appropriate to a Twilight domain. There is sort of a quietness about it, but I think there can be a great power, not only in storytelling but also in life, of the quiet places, where the light is softer, where things dim a bit. Now, that all sort of high-level talk aside, I think the subclass just has some neat stuff in it, where we explore, for instance, the ability for a character to be able to see clearly in darkness at any distance. This feature that the subclass gets right away, of being able to see at any distance in the darkness, I'm suspecting, and we, the team that worked on this, myself, Dan Dillon, Ben Petrosor, and Wes Schneider, thought people might actually read it so fast they might miss what makes it special, forgetting that in D&D, dark vision almost always has a range.
Yes.
Typically 60 feet, occasionally 100 or 120 feet. But usually it's only about out to 60 feet, and then beyond that, you can't see.
Yeah.
The Twilight domain gives the cleric the ability to see in darkness no matter the distance. So already, that's something special. Then they have the ability to give that ability a limited number of times to their friends. So imagine you're in, the Underdark, or you're trapped in some other subterranean location. You have no light source. This is the cleric who can say suddenly, everyone we can see, but still maintain the darkness, because maybe we want to get the jump on people, and we don't want to cast the light spell or use some other means of generating illumination.
Now it's less ethereal to me, and now it's almost like a Black Ops team.
Yes,
Right.
yeah. So again, and we want, again, that liminal space where this could be used to, you can imagine, rid people of their fear of the dark. This could be the cleric who is a source of comfort to people, where you can't see and we have no source of light, but we can make darkness our friend. But this ability also could be used to sneak into a place and pull off an amazing ambush, because you are moving in darkness and all of you able to see as if you were in the daylight. So again, really neat, I think, in terms of how this could play out.
Such an insanely valuable guide as well. Very weird aside, I think of like Riddick. He's the only person who can see in the darkness, and to have that power, like you can become such an instrumental part of the party, and to survive. You see that dragon before the dragon sees you.
And that was something we talked about, being of use to the group. We talked about in our design. Because typically when a person chooses to play the cleric, so many of its abilities are about helping other people. And the cleric certainly has a number of abilities that are just fun for the cleric, but I always try to make sure there's something in the cleric, whether it was back then when we were working on the base class, but now in the subclass, that benefits your buddies. And so initially when we did this See in the Dark, it actually only benefited the cleric. But honestly, we could do a feature like that in any class. In fact, in Xanathar's guide, we have the ranger who can, who is also a friend to the darkness. But here, to really distinguish this subclass from a similar theme elsewhere, we wanted to make it so that you could help your friends, because that's, again, a very cleric thing to be able to do. That's also why this cleric is able to give advantage to themselves or someone else on their next initiative roll. This idea that you can bring vigilance to your group. This cleric is such a friend to the night that they eventually gain the ability to essentially walk on darkness. I really loved when Dan Dillon put that in the initial draft, this idea, again, of this cleric just sort of striding upon the night. It's, again, there's kind of a witchy quality to it, which also makes it possible, I think, to make some cleric concepts that maybe some of our other subclasses don't fully realize. If you want to make, a cleric of the moon, you could certainly do that with some of our other subclasses, because the moon is associated in myth with many different things. You could associate the moon with the knowledge domain, the life domain, the grave domain.
Yeah.
But this domain lets you focus more on nighttime itself, and your relationship with darkness and twilight and light. So I think it's a very rich area, not only in terms of what the subclass can do, but also in terms of the types of clerics you can make with it.
It's such a transitive moment too, and particularly for kids, for some reason, in my mind, like you're waiting for Halloween, and the sun begins to set. It is a transition, somehow mentally, for all of us always. Yeah. Whether you're going out and you're going to party or go see, the movies or go trick-or-treating for candy, there is something about Twilight that is the border of all of that. From the moment you work, even, growing up on a farm, the moment you're working to the moment where you can't work anymore, and then things are fun. Yeah. There is something, I think, just kind of ingrained in all of us. And walking on shadows is always cool. Yeah. How can you not want to do that? Yeah. How does this work for so that makes a lot of sense. If you're a cleric that worships the moon or a moon deity, how would you do this for philosophy? That's a toughie in my mind.
If your cleric follows a philosophy or a force instead of a god or a pantheon, you could imagine a philosophy of transition or of change, or a concept of mystery, because not only does this domain give you the ability to pierce darkness with your sight and stride upon darkness, but this also allows you to create darkness. So in a way, it's like you have this two-sided relationship with darkness. You can use it, or defang it, or you can use it against others. You can conjure up darkness, and then eventually, at a high enough level in the subclass, you can make it so that with the darkness spell, you and your friends can see through it. Which again is one of those things where a person might read it and say, big deal. But remember, the darkness spell, the darkness spell cannot be seen through even by normal dark vision. So to have a group that can walk around in the area of a darkness spell, and keep in mind when other people can't see you and they try to attack you, they have disadvantage on all their attack rolls. And if you can see them and they can't see you, you have advantage on your attack rolls. Oh boy, could this be devastating in certain circumstances.
It's so terrifying. My wife and I use darkness together when we get a chance to play together. That's our go-to. We drop some darkness, like Shadow Sorcerer, Warlock with Devil's Sight, and it's just like 1-2 punch, right? Again, disadvantage against us, advantage for us against them, and then things get really dark if you get like the Sentinel feat, or you have Eldritch Blast that slows people down. So now you have 3 subclasses that can all, well, in the entire class here, but you can have 3 different characters that are all about the darkness and treading that line, and that's very exciting and very advantageous, because before doing that trick with darkness is a very alienating effect, because this is you in the dark, right? And the party watching you do this. Can you grant that ability to other people?
Yes, and again, that is the cleric twist, where the Twilight cleric is able to share this ability, which again might be scary for your foes, but can also then be comforting for your friends. And again, it goes back to the two-sided nature of the Twilight domain.